When I came back to life, the first thing I did was order 50 pounds of ground meat and gather my family to make ravioli. I did this because in my last life, my stepmother Victoria had an affair and got pregnant by another man. To hide her betrayal from my father, she orchestrated a public spectacle. She went to a chaotic Black Friday sale, intentionally got into the scrum for a discounted coffee machine, and let herself be knocked to the ground, inducing a miscarriage. When she came home, she collapsed into my father's arms, sobbing. "It was Sophia," she cried. "She's so cheap, she insisted we go fight for that stupid sale. If she hadn't dragged me there, I wouldn't have fallen. I wouldn't have lost our son." I tried to explain, but my own fiancé Daniel stepped forward to drive the nail into my coffin. "Sophia, I am so disappointed in you," he said, his face a mask of disgust. "I've tolerated your cheapness, scamming free meals, shoplifting snacks from the bulk bins. But this? Forcing your stepmother into a dangerous crowd just to save a few bucks, causing her to lose a child? I can't do this anymore. The engagement is off." My father exploded. He chased me through the house, his rage a storm of slaps and curses. Afterward, he had me committed to a corrupt psychiatric facility upstate. I was locked away, mistreated, and left to die from a septic infection after a botched medical procedure. It was only after I died that I learned the truth. Daniel had been sleeping with my stepmother all along. Our engagement was just a convenient cover for their affair. When I opened my eyes again, I was back. Back on the morning of the day Victoria went to the Black Friday sale. I was curled up in bed, tears soaking my pillow, when the phone rang. I answered it instinctively. It was Victoria. "Morning, sweetie," she chirped. "It's Christmas Eve, so I'm going to do a little shopping. Treat myself. I won't be home to cook today, so you can handle the housework and make dinner for your dad and grandparents, okay?" She said it not as a request, but as a statement of fact, giving me no room to refuse. "And don't tell your dad where I am. You know how he hovers. A girl needs her breathing room." Her voice was syrupy sweet. "You're such a good girl, Sophia. You're my little helper. I'll bring you back something nice." Then she hung up. I tried calling her back 5-6 times. Every call went straight to voicemail. She'd already blocked my number. The repeated dial tone shocked me back to the present, and a cold sweat broke out across my skin. I was back. I had been given a second chance. In my last life, Victoria had married my father thinking he was wealthy. She was sorely disappointed to find out he was just a retired tradesman with no pension. All the nice things he'd shown off during their courtship, the car, the apartment, were actually mine. She felt trapped, but she stayed, her resentment simmering just beneath the surface. Last time, on Christmas Eve, she had made the same call. I'd agreed to her request, but then got called into the office to handle a crisis. I worked all day, only getting home late for dinner. I walked into a house thick with a terrifying silence. My father stood in the living room, his face a thundercloud, while Victoria wept at his side. "Sophia, it's all your fault," she'd sobbed. "If you hadn't been so cheap, if you hadn't dragged me to that horrible sale, I wouldn't have been pushed, I wouldn't have lost the baby." I was floored. "What are you talking about? I was at work all day, I have timestamps, emails." Before I could pull out my phone, Daniel snatched it from my hand, threw it to the floor, and stomped on it. "I can't believe you," he'd spat. "I'm done. We're done." His betrayal was all the proof my father needed. He saw the loss of his unborn son as the ultimate failure, and I was the one to blame. He dragged me out of the house that night. I now knew the child she'd lost wasn't my father's. It was Daniel's. They'd been careless, and this elaborate, cruel performance was their way of erasing the evidence. Brilliant. Really. Utterly monstrous, but brilliant. This time things would be different. A cold smile touched my lips. I wasn't going anywhere. I ordered 50 pounds of ground meat for delivery. Then I sent a text to my boss. "Family emergency. Requesting to work from home for the holiday." I was the backbone of my company. My boss trusted me implicitly. The reply came back in minutes. "Approved. Take care of things." With my alibi established, I got up and took a long hot shower. By the time I was sitting at the breakfast table, the doorbell rang. The butcher delivered the meat. My father and grandparents stared at the massive containers in disbelief. "Where on earth did all this come from?" my grandmother asked. I passed the buck to my boss. "A client defaulted on a payment, so they paid the company in product. They're a meat distributor." I shrugged. "So instead of a cash bonus this year, my boss just gave us all a share of the meat. Said we should all go home and make ravioli for